What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm BDLM, coming with my buddy J4Y, bringing you this Shoutcast presentation. We're bringing you the Western qualifiers for the Dota 2 International. What is going on, man?
Finally we get to do some good freaking games. It's about time. I know I'm personally pumped up. Obviously you are too. This is, as we said in our episode 28, the pre-nationals. I'm going to TM that from you. This is basically going to be almost as good as what you're going to see in Seattle this year. These teams facing off for those last couple spots. So they're going to put everything on the line for these games. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, man. I'm really looking forward to this game. Like you were saying in episode number 28 of our podcast, we talked about this. mTw is one of these teams. I hope they do pretty well. But, I just want to see a good game regardless of whoever wins. I just want to see a great series. And I'm sure Virtus.pro, mTw, they're both going to bring whatever they got to this game to try and get their spot in the International. It's going to be really great to see this. And already, we have some bans coming out by both sides. So Cinderin starts out the bans with a Darkseer, follows it up with a Broodmother, and you have Virtus.pro NS in that captain spot, banning out the Lycanthrope and the Nature's Prophet. I don't think any of these are really that big of a surprise.
No, definitely makes a ton of sense. But I want to quickly just preface this by saying that this is going to be the West qualifiers. All of these are best of 3 matches. It's going to be 8 teams battling it off for each one. So just want to kind of get that out of the way in the first series. You know what I mean? Just get that honky tonk out of here. I don't know why you use those words. Those are words. Darkseer, Broodmother, I kind of no-brainer. Darkseer has been in pretty much every single game. It's kind of been like Nature's Prophet. You see the opposite bands here. They're just apparently so amazing in the current meta, or just so popular that hardly a questionable pick. And then of course Lycanthrope with his pushing and high damage and just really hard to take down with his ultimate. Another obviously I think no-brainer there.
Yeah, I think it's funny actually because every game I think I've seen Cinderin of late, his first ban, 100% all the time, is actually the Lycanthrope. This time he's banning out the Darkseer, just doesn't even want that to be in the pool. The Lycanthrope he hates actually gets banned out by Virtus.pro. Both teams not wanting to mess with that. We have the last 2 bans in this first stage, the Queen of Pain, the Chen, and we're going to have our first couple of picks. Invoker, the first pick by mTw, and then of course for Virtus.pro we have the Enchantress and the Leshrac picked up.
Yeah, well, I guess what Virtus.pro is thinking here is like, well, if we're not going to have Chen, we're going to have Enchantress, and that's exactly what they went with. Already the pushing power of Virtus.pro, it's just intense. You've got the Enchantress with the minions coming out. You've got the Leshrac with the Diabolic Edict, just tons of pushing potential. And that's only their first 2 heroes. So, who knows what they're going to come up with on the rest of these 3 picks, but if they get, let's say, a lone Druid, or, there's so many other ideas they can go with to keep the pushing pressure up, that could be a really scary lineup that they'd have to deal with. But, coming back to the Invoker first pick, that's like Cinderin's bread and butter. We know he loves to run that in the solo middle. So, I think that makes a lot of sense why he went with that first. And then you see Enigma and Windrunner now picked up. What do you think? Is that a good way to kind of counter out this Enchantress and Leshrac?
Well, it's so many ints already, man. Both those picks are just amazing. The Black Hole is going to be able to actually help set up a lot of shackles, too, to come out. Both those heroes are just amazing. So far, everybody picked up so far makes complete sense. Nothing out of left field. These are all big heroes in the current meta game. And, I'm really curious to see what the last pick from Virtus.pro is going to be, because like you were just saying, they already have so much push. We'll have to see if they look to make picks to just kind of run that home, or if they're going to round out for more of like a team fight style and actually have some kind of a late game answer.
I think they're going to have... Here's the thing. When you see Enigma picked up this early in the draft, which kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it kind of leaves you open-ended when you don't get to ban out heroes like Beastmaster or Vengeful Spirit. 2 really, really good counters to the Enigma, because they have the really long range to interrupt that ultimate. And even if she gets a BKB, they can go through that. And there's Beastmaster, so called it right on the head there. And they left themselves kind of vulnerable to that, so now they're going to have to be a lot more concerned trying to fit that black hole. It's not going to be nearly as easy to get that off.
Yeah, I love the Beastmaster pickup already with the Enchantress and the Leshrac, because like you said, a great counter to Enigma, and they're setting themselves up for the push again, because Beastmaster, his Wild Axes can clear out creeps really quickly, and of course the attack speed art is going to help everybody just burn down those towers faster. Although, I mean, Windrunner, amazing counter pusher, and Enigma's going to be able to turn some of Enchantress's creeps into Eidolons, allow him to help push out as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who is able to really put out more pushing power.
Yeah, you see the Anti-Mage ban coming out now from Synderen. So I guess they're going to go predicting. Obviously, you see these 3 picks, and none of them seem to be kind of any late-game hard carry. So maybe that's what their thought process is, okay, they're probably going to run something. They're going to have to get that, what they want late-game potential. And Anti-Mage, I guess they just don't want to have to deal with that, in the kind of late-game thing. And then you see Lone Druid now coming out, actually from VP. Kind of an interesting choice there. Would you think mTw would have wanted to run that?
I'm not sure. I mean, I was actually just about to say, mTw's lineup, it really hasn't committed to anything yet. All 3 of those heroes could be solo mid. They could all be side lane solo as well. They haven't really given Virtus any kind of a hint at what they're planning on doing yet as far as the laning phase is concerned. I mean, we obviously have a lot of setup for the middle game, and there's even some late game potential here with the Windrunner and the Invoker. But yeah, I'm really liking the way they put their team together so far, and yeah, they are gonna leave Virtus kind of just trying to ban out whoever they think mTw is gonna go for.
You see that Storm Spirit now banned out. So interesting choice there. They go with the Anti-Mage and the Storm Spirit. So maybe this is not only heroes that are like, well, they need to fit this kind of role, but heroes they just don't want to deal with in general. And those are 2 very, very mobile heroes. So maybe they were going to think, oh, we might have trouble keeping them locked down. Although, I mean, honestly, with that lineup, I don't know how much trouble it really would be. They had the Cyclone, the Tornado, they've got the Shackle Shot, Enigma with the Malphite, tons of actually good CC, I think, coming out already. And they still have 2 more slots to fill, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they still want to deal with that. But this last ban, I'm going to have to expect they're going to try to hunt down either another decent pusher or maybe some kind of late game themselves, because, like you said, the mTw is really open with their lineup right now, so it could really go any direction from here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the problem we're seeing. NS, he's taking a lot of his bonus time now, actually. He finally decides to ban out the Shadow Demon. So, yeah, he wasn't really sure if they were going to maybe see the support Windrunner or the Windrunner in the long lane or anything, but decides to ban out a support, really powerful support. It can just banish somebody out, can really save them, or pick somebody off on the enemy team, take them out of a fight, or even banish somebody out and let the rest of his team come up so that they can get the kill. So a smart ban by NS.
I was going to say, I mean, it kind of makes sense. From what I see from these 3 picks, Invoker, no doubt my mind's going to go middle. A Windrunner could easily take the long lane, throw the Enigma in the jungle, and what are you left with? A bottom lane with a farmer and a roamer support, and there's the support talking about that to disrupt the fights. He's a beautiful person to run on that lane. He can cause so much havoc, set up a lot of good ganks. Block off lanes completely. I do love to see that pickup. It kind of threw me off, though, because I was expecting sort of a ranged support to be helping out that bottom lane, but he does a good job sitting in those trees.
Here's the other thing, too. Back in our Han days, when we used to watch that competitively, there were names and heroes that just went together. And actually, it's funny with Scandal on Virtus Pro, I was thinking, oh, I'd love to see him play a Shadow Fiend because he was so good at the Soul Stealer in Han. And, it's like that with Earthshaker and Kabop. He is so good. By far, I would say, the best Earthshaker that I've seen in Dota 2 thus far. So it's going to be awesome to get to see what he can set up. We have Lich coming out, actually, by NS, another pick. This is kind of interesting. I mean, there isn't a ton of push. Now there is. Tinker, actually, a ton of push potential. Picked up by mTw. What? There's kind of a strange pick for you. And, it's going to be really easy to push whatever lane Lich is in if he's going to be sacrificing those creeps and holding back the creep wave.
What in the world just happened? This is a flashback to... Who was in that game where Tinker was in the bottom lane farming?
The tri-lane. I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh, we saw that happen. It was magic. It was absolute magic. I remember whoever that team was, I think it was like a 9-minute boot to travel on the Tinker or something just stupid. And he hit level 6 and had boots of travel. It was like, are you kidding me? And maybe that's what they're trying. Maybe they like that idea of a strategy. I mean, the Tinker obviously really good for mobility and for high nuke damage, as well as, like you said, for pushing out the lanes because he can teleport and just come back, man up. repeat the cycle. But it leaves them out to the late game. You see Faceless Void now picked up, and this is kind of where I was going with that. Their late game is a little questionable. I mean, obviously Tinker and Invoker and Enigma, and all the heroes have decent late game abilities. But now that you see this Faceless Void picked up, are they going to be able to shut him down enough to not let him take over this game with that ultimate?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be rough. Now you have to ask the question of how fast can mTw push. And, I was talking a little bit earlier about the counter-push potential in mTw, but there's a good amount for Virtus as well. I mean, they do have the Wild Axes. Of course, Leshrac Lightning can do a lot for that as well. I think they might have enough to stop mTw from taking a really early lead. They might be able to leave enough time for their Faceless Void to get a high amount of farm and move into this late game. But, Tinker, he's going to be going for the Sheep Stick if he can get that farm. Windrunner is going to be looking for that Sheep Stick. So mTw definitely has the components to be able to shut down the Faceless Void, even if it goes late.
It's true, but it all depends. It's going to depend on that initiation so very much. I mean, if Faceless Void can get a nice leap in there, capture them all in his ultimate, throw a Lich ulti in there, yeah, that's going to do some insane damage bouncing around there while they're frozen up. And then you see all the ranged heroes coming out from them. Leshrac and Enchantress just beating on them from afar. It's really going to depend on this initiation, but at the same time, that could go either way, because mTw, hey, we have Black Hole, we have, Echo Slam coming from the Earthshaker. They've got a lot on their own side. So, like I said, it's just going to really come down to positioning, warding, smoking, and just getting that prime jump on the other team.
I have a confession to make.
You sure do.
I accidentally clicked auto speed for like half a second. So I want to make sure that we're at the right time in the replay because, of course...
It wouldn't be a rookie amateur cast if we didn't do something like this.
Give me
a time
keep
here.
It interesting. 12-14, 12-15, 12-16.
You're a second ahead of me.
17. Oh, I think we can live with that. That's pretty close.
That's okay.
Alrighty, let's run down these lineups. I'll go ahead and take the mTw side if you don't mind. Tinker, we have playing Shoshka. We have Mad on the Enigma. We have Cinder, and of course on the Invoker. Kabop Earthshaker, very excited to see that. And last but not least, Funzy taking the Windrunner. And it looks like he'll probably head for that side lane solo top.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, we got on VP here. We got the Enchantress. That's going to be NS. We have Lich. That's going to be Blow Your Brain. We have Scandal on the Leshrac. Interesting decision there. We got KKY playing that Faceless Void. And finally, we have Santa on the Beastmaster. This is the epic horn. I love that new horn, that sound to come out when that game starts. And we called it right here. The Tinker now going to be on the farming lane and down south. And he actually has the recipe for Soul Ring, so expecting to get those components really quick. And I guess just continue pressure throughout the whole game.
I really like that, I mean, if you were to see a Tinker mid, you would definitely see a bottle on him. The Soul Ring's a really good way to sort of get that same kind of mana regeneration and that sort of stability in the side lane. That's going to really allow him to try and control this bottom lane. It looks like he's actually going to be solo down here. The dual lane's going to be run top, Windrunner and Kabop, a ton of crowd control there. They're going to be able to hopefully get this Leshrac into some bad situations if he keeps sitting in these trees.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. You saw Kabop start up there, but they were expecting the Faceless to be on the short lane. He actually took the middle now with Lich denying those creeps. So obviously you see Kabop, he's going to rotate now in the middle to hopefully help out Cinder and keep up the pressure. In the meantime, here's the Beastmaster pulling the super creeps that we've seen actually in the past now. Already stacking that up once, and he's just going to continue to do that on this long lane for quite a while. It's really easy because of this Wild Axe range.
Yeah, we actually see some action here in the middle. The great stun by Kabop is actually not going to be enough, and it looks like Faceless is not going to run straight into that Sunstrike like Sidron was hoping he would. Almost had First Blood in the middle lane, but not quite. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that one. The neat thing about that bottom lane, or the interesting thing, I guess I should say, I might have to wait for it because in the top lane it looks like Enchantress is going to try and gank this Windrunner. Is he going to be able to get the stun with the creep? Yes, he does. He's also going to be able to lay down the Thunderclap. The stun from the Leshrac follows it up, and Enchantress will draw First Blood in the top lane.
Very good gank. Windrunner unfortunately not able to react in time to pop that Windrun to dodge hits or even get out there alive. And that was just such an easy gank. That's the power of Enchantress right there. Only level 2 with 2 huge creeps. Chen can't even like fathom to do something like that. So I mean, just really good job taking advantage of how she is early in the game.
Yeah, and also really lucky there with the creep spawns, able to get both the Thunderclap minion and the stun minion, able to do a lot of damage, apply a slow and a stun before you even factor in the stun of Leshrac.
Absolutely. You see, there was a little bit of harassment coming out. Earthshake was trying to wall in that Lich because he was going for that Rage over in top, but unfortunately on the other side of it, Lich just heals up from the damage and says, no problem, we got this. Now all level 2 in the middle. Meanwhile, bottom, Tinker doing a lot of good job here, keeping Beastmaster out of the lane. He's out of health regen consumables, and he's only got 1 mana pot left. So, you know, he's going to have some trouble here unless he gives himself a little bit more consumables to stay in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to mention this when we were talking about this bottom lane earlier. The thing is, Beastmaster's going to be able to keep up with the Tinker. If he keeps pulling these Ancients, at some point he's going to be able to walk over there, pick up a lot of gold, pick up a couple of levels easily. But this also means that Tinker is going to be able to get complete free farm here in the bottom. And that means he's going to be able to get those boots of travel we were talking about earlier very quickly, and was going to be able to make big presence on the map. You know, Faceless Void running in this middle lane, you know, he's not going to be anywhere near the level of Tinker when he finally does get those boots of travel, so Tinker's going to possibly be able to come into that lane, just lay down a ton of damage, and that might be an opportunity for mTw to hold down that late game carry.
Yeah, they're definitely. I do like that idea to keep the pressure up. Don't let him get too much farm, because yeah, obviously a Faceless with a lot of farm is going to take the game, no questions asked. You know, if he just gets like a BKB, the only thing that's really going to be able to stop him would be that a black hole from the Enigma. So, you know, going to be a lot of trouble. Look at this harass on Beastmaster. He's got nothing left, man, and that Soul Ring is just doing so much. Tinker's just sitting around full health, full mana most of the time here, with the Heat-Seeking Missile doing so much damage. I'm not sure what Beastmaster, besides pulling's got left in him.
Yeah, I mean, the only break he's getting now here is that he keeps spawning the Granite Golems, so he doesn't have to worry about those flying mobs. It'll take a little bit more time to pull in a little bit more finesse. He at least is getting all these melees, so it should be pretty easy for him to actually keep the stack up. And we're actually going to see Leshrac and Windrunner trying to make an exchange here at the top lane, right behind the first tier tower. He does not land the stun, so there will be no follow-up. He's going to look to go back to the middle. They actually, Virtus Pro have this ward here watching this top river spawn, and actually, interestingly enough, mTw have a ward just to the south of that, really trying to keep tabs on that upper river section.
Ooh, good Sunstrike coming in here on Faceless Void, down to 180 health. And choosing to put, he's got 2 points in that backtrack already, so maybe he's going to choose to max that out first. He actually did get the Ring of Health though, and there's a healing salve, so he's going to be just fine. Get topped off here, be able to deal with that harass like he does. Actually, it gets interrupted, and he's walled off now, but they don't really have a good follow up, and he could also just time walk out of there, simply put. So not you know, a large deal in the end, but those auto attacks with that Hexor build are doing quite significant damage since he doesn't have the Stout Shield to kind of absorb any of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the graphs right now, and we can see that actually in the EXP graph, it looks like the Radiant are leading by about 1,000. That Beastmaster, oh yeah, the Beastmaster we were just talking about now in a lot of trouble. Catches the Malefice, catches the Rocket, but are they going to have anything else to be able to try and take him down? I don't think so. Looks like Matt just going to look to take an attack there on that poor little birdie. Just wanted to see what he could see, but Earthshaker wants to try and come over here and do something. He's not going to get there in time. He's going to look to come back and help Synderen here in the middle lane. So yeah, but because that Beastmaster isn't able to do a whole heck of a lot, the Radiant are just getting a pretty big experience lead and are now actually starting to look to take a gold lead, hitting about 500. You know, nothing too major, nothing too hard to overcome, but, you know, a trend that, if it keeps up, is going to be really hard for the Dire to overcome.
I want to see what this Enchantress is thinking right now. Doesn't have enough gold to buy anything from this shop, so is she looking to set something up? No, she's just kind of chilling around, waiting for that 6-minute rune, actually. And she's going to probably grab it. Yeah, she's going to take that now. And she does have that Dark Troll Warlord, who, like we said, with that Ensnare ability, is really going to be effective against this Windrunner. Keep her in place long enough for the Leshrac to land the stun and get the Diabolic Egg off. You see his build, actually, is 3 and 3 in each. Oh, here comes the action. She is spotted, but Windrunner is not sure what to do here. Oh, he's in a heap of trouble. He's going to pop that Windrun. No, he's not. He is just absolutely gone. Good Shackle Shot. Is the Sunstrike's damage good? Oh, it gets split between all the things, unfortunately. So it's not going to be enough damage by itself to finish him off. Really unfortunate that the illusions were there for the Sunstrike.
Yeah, I mean, really ballsy play coming out from the Enchantress, and I love it.
Bottom lane.
Just bottom lane. What do we have going on bottom? We have a black hole drop to take out that Beastmaster insult to injury. He actually has picked up the Tranquil Boots, looking to try and get some stability in lane, sitting on the Soul Ring recipe. But other than that, he is bare naked. And now that he's just gotten killed, he is not going to be able to get an item anytime soon. Really unfortunate to see him in that position. But, you know, he does have the Tranquil Boots. He is going to be able to at least heal himself now. So hopefully he will be able to pick up a little bit more in that bottom lane.
Yeah, you know, I think... Oh, Kebab just read my mind. I was going to say they really need to ward that top river because that's the second time Enchantress has now been kind of roaming around that area undetected, and it's really been a detriment to this Windrunner, keeping her down. She's only up to... Actually, you know what? 17-7. I guess it's been mostly...
Here in the middle lane, actually, we have some more initiation by Kabapin. Just again, time walk out by the Faceless Void, not able to land the Sunstrike. That's really rough for them. They really want to try and use Kebab to generate some kills, but unfortunately that time walk makes it so difficult. And of course, now the Faceless Void has had that Ring of Health. He's actually sitting with Power Treads in the stash. He's going to be really hard for them to be able to force out of the lane.
Yeah, definitely. It is going to be really hard. That's a great thing about Faceless with that backtrack. You know, if he keeps investing points into that, you know, they're not going to have too much. They have to get lucky in order to take him down, more or less. Meanwhile, I want to question this Tinker's build. He's got Heat Missile and March the Machines maxed out. Not a single point in the laser or the ultimate. Now, the ultimate, I guess I can understand, although he has the recipe for Boots of Travel already. We were talking about that 9 minutes. It's pretty much here. Actually, this is the first time. Okay, he's using the March Machines. I haven't seen him even drop it once, but it's maxed out already.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really smart decision. Obviously, the laser could be good against Beastmaster, but if he even wanted to try and come in on the creeps, they're going to be able to keep it down. You know, I was actually watching this bottom lane not too long ago, and I wanted to ask you, how many ancient granite golems do you think there are in the world? Because I think Beastmaster is making friends with all of them. Not a single dragon down here, so that's at least, you know, kind of nice. There plenty of experience, plenty of gold waiting for him as soon as he gets his...
Action top, Enchantress going to get caught out by 3 heroes plus the Sunstrike. Those whips are not enough to take the heat, but here comes Leshrac landing a great stun. Nightball doing an insane amount of damage. She's going to keep chasing him down. Is it going to be enough for this? Earshaker with the ultimate now with that level 9, going to use it, and now it looks like it might be a possible triple kill. Those Eidolons are still doing a whole ton of damage. Is it going to be enough? Wow, he has 15 health. Going to use a treater and live just in time. Is Sunstrike going to be up? It's up in 1 second. Is he going to go for the kill? Oh, that would have been quite an insane kill. So I'm sorry, that was 3 for none.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, all of this advantage that mTw been building in the bottom lane with the Tinker, who now does have his Boots of Travel, they just gave that all back to Leshrac. And he's the one hero on that side, aside from Faceless, that they really don't want to get fat. Because Leshrac, while being an intellect hero, is obviously really strong, even in the later parts of the game. Can put out a ton of AoE damage if he can just run around with the Pulse Nova on and a couple stacks on the Bloodstone. Here in the middle lane, they're going to actually try and go on this Faceless. The Tinker comes in. They burst him down, but he's still sitting on about 400 health. The backtrack helping to keep him alive. And yet again, we see plenty of coordination here in this middle lane to try and take him down, and they're just not able to get anything for it. But oh look, they're actually going to find Enchantress. Is she overextended here in the Force? It looks like she's actually going to get away just fine. Everybody messing around with the illusions and her creeps. It looks like she's going to be A-okay in the enemy jungle.
Those illusions she's had have done quite a good job in this game for her already. She's taken less damage from a Sunstrike, faked out, the head faked right there, and she's actually sticking around now. So what is her plan here? Because she doesn't have any support really that close to her. She does have those treads and a smoke, but I don't think a smoke's going to carry you out of a bad situation. So, okay, she is going to fall back here quite possibly. She doesn't even have any minions. So, going to be spotted here by the Invoker. And here comes the Tinker doing some good damage. They're going to try to keep following up with that. The Sunstrike is going to land, and that's a dead Enchantress. She was just in there for just way too long with no one to come help her, and that just led to her death.
Yeah, really unfortunate there. We can see this Beastmaster looking to finish that Soul Ring. He's so close as we have the Leshrac looking to solo push the top. He's going to force out the Glyph of Fortification as he continues to just destroy these creep waves off. Continue to keep that Diabolic Edict up. The pressure on this top lane. Sock actually has to come up here and try and deal with him. Using this rearm, as we can see, he's probably going to look to TP back to base after dropping down. Yep, yet another March of Machines. Regen the mana, rearm, and then TP back into a lane, and just keep that level of farm up for the rest of the game, hopefully.
Yeah, he's the only one that really has a good shot to keep Leshrac back from that tower. The rest of his heroes cannot keep up with the amount of power that Leshrac already has, and he's got such a good start with the Arcane Boots and the Point Booster and the Magic Wand. I mean, just a ton of space stats as well as levels, level 10. So already has that Diabolic Edict maxed out. So it's just really hard to keep him down. Like I said, Tinker might be one of the few here that's got it in him to prevent that. Looking around the items a little bit, Enigma actually almost finished up with his mech, which is going to be a really helpful thing if they're going to look
in
to
the
try to
bottom
push.
lane, it looks like they're going to try to go in here on Cinder, and he gets stunned, and just a ton of damage dropping down on him. There's nothing going to be able to do. He tries to get the Enchantress with a Sunstrike, but it's not going to be enough damage. A couple more mTw heroes come down here to try and deal with it, but it looks like they're not going to have enough here. The Sprite's looking to keep Enchantress up and heal a little bit of Lich's health before they decide to go out, but in comes the Tinker. Are they going to be able to set something up here? The Rockets drop a ton of damage on the Lich, and the Power Shot will finish him off, doing a ton of damage to Leshrac as well. Are they going to look to be able to finish that up? They can't. No, they have to back off. The March of Machines dealing so much damage to the Enchantress as she goes in and then gets picked off by the Enigma. Beastmaster forced to retreat.
Those Eidolons just are completely ignored, but they do an insane amount of damage if just left there. Each one hits for 47. Multiply that by 6, that's almost 300 damage every time all of them attack once. So, you know, people I think just underestimate how much they're really doing in the fight, but that with the March of Machines, just insane amount. So yeah, really actually good fight for mTw there, and they're going to look to easily take this tier 1 tower and probably fall back immediately after. Yes, a good fight for them. Actually, Mech now finished on Enigma plus 1,000 gold. You think he's going to go straight for a blink at this point?
It's probably a pretty good decision. I mean, they can really use the heroes they have to their advantage if he's able to get that Blink Dagger, because then they can get the range stun of the Kabop Earthshaker. He'll be able to blink in and lay down the Malphus, and Tinker will be able to TP in from anywhere else on the map if there are creeps nearby. And, you know, if Enigma's bringing his Eidolons along with them, they're going to be able to TP to them. So I think it's probably a pretty strong decision. You know, I really do like seeing that quick mech on the Enigma. Gives him some additional healing, so that way he doesn't just die immediately when he tries to run in and lay down that black hole. Actually, interestingly enough, finishes up the power treads, interestingly getting a little bit more health as he looks to join his team in pushing this middle lane.
Yeah, and as they should. I mean, we were discussing this earlier. They do not in any way want this to get to late game, because Faceless Void and Leshrac, all that team on the other side is just going to easily take it over for them. So they really want to keep up the pressure, and this is a great decision here, especially with that mech, really quick mech. It's going to allow them to keep pushing pretty simply. You see a Malphite's actually coming out on this Faceless Void, a little bit of harass. With the Tinker on top, that's not going to get backtracked, so nice, down to 600 health already. Here's a March of Machines. Is the Dire going to put the stand against here? I love, this is the Tinker harass we're talking about. With the Sunstrike, it's going to land, but I think it was split between a couple of people, so not going to do full damage, but he's already down to 300 health. And he does have that ultimate, but it's still really risky for him to try any kind of initiation here. So they're going to continue to push. Lich is just hiding in the woods. I'm not sure if he's going to look to deny this or not, but he should probably just look to get back at this point, honestly, because he is not going to get this deny off. Nice try, but just not going to happen. Another tower pushed, and that's going to just keep this gold advantage rolling in the favor of mTw.
Tinker with the Soul Ring in the bottle, so hard to deal with. I mean, we could see right there, he was able to constantly keep up March of the Machines and the Rockets. There's really no way the Dire can contest that at this point in the game, and he's just able to do so much damage by just keeping the mana flowing. And we just saw how powerful that is. Tinker continuing to move around the map, continuing to keep up that same level of farm. He is going to be vicious pretty soon.
Yeah, it's true. But, I mean, you know, Faceless Void on the other hand, he's got Ring of Health, Treads, and the Claymore. He actually could afford that Perseverance if he so decide want to. Getting kind of close to that Battle Fury. While he's super squishy, he's going to get that farm really quick, especially with how much these super creeps are kind of getting stacked.
Ultimate, and it actually misses anyone, everyone, no one. It misses.
Who was there, Tinker?
I think he was actually trying to go for I don't know.
On the map, I don't see anyone near there.
Yeah, he just time walked in, tried to drop it, tried to catch somebody, so now that's down. And, you know, his team was they were poised to try and take the middle tower, so, you know, now that they don't have that big ultimate, they're not going to be able to do anything, and you can already see most of mTw here in this top lane. Tinker, the only one not there, and of course, he is going to just TP into the Eidolons, and they're going to look to take a tier 2 tower.
Wow, he's got a 4-staff already. I mean, he is just ramping up so fast, and that's exactly what Tinker does best. You see him now finally investing points from that laser, so he'll have that burst damage with Invoker coming out. It's going to be a really helpful to try to take them out, but here comes the Dire now smoked up in their woods. They absolutely want to go on this Enigma here. He's on the edge. Going to get caught by Beastmaster ulti. Here's the follow-up. We got the Wild Axes. Huge amount of burst damage, but look how much caught they are. The Shackle Shot, beautiful on 2 heroes. Echo Slam getting dropped, going to kill another hero. Rockets coming out. Leshrac and Enchantress both going to survive, barely with any health left, but Enigma the only one to fall on the Radiant team. And are they going to keep this pressure up? They're still at full health, 3 of these heroes at the tower, and Chase is the only one that can really defend it at this point. And I don't think she's going to be enough because she doesn't even have any creeps with her under her control. So really great team fight by mTw there.
You know, if this was a pub game, the Enigma would be in all chat, like, worth it. Totally got a good trade there. They were able to force everybody back, and now mTw able to put up a lot of pressure on this Tier 2 tower. They might not be able to take it there yet. There is enough time for all of Virtus.pro to res up, so they're not actually going to be able to take it, perhaps. They actually have their Beastmaster. He's looking to go down to this bottom. He's already cleared out those Ancients, got him a VIP booster and a Ring of Health. He might be looking to finish a Vanguard there. But it looks like we're actually going to have an engagement again up here, this top tower. Windrunner actually picks up the kill. There's no reason for Virtus to fight. And as you can see, a ton of damage being done to the Enchantress. She just barely misses the Sunstrike, but the Cold Snap, not enough to keep her in place and in range of more mTw pain.
Tries to get one last rocket off. It's only going to hit the Leshrac, though, so that's going to be the end of that. But here they swing middle. Look at this constant tower pressure, and why not? They got the Arcane Boots. They have the mech up. Just so easy for them to keep pushing with all these Eidolons as well. Faces Boy in the meantime gets out barely with the time leap, but Shackle Shot going to land but not latch to anything. He's going to be just fine getting out, but he is just confined to not be able to farm. But he did have a really good farm to start the game, fortunately up to 100 CS, so he's really on the cusp now of finishing up that Battle Fury. And hopefully by then he can start really upping his farm if they can keep them off their towers.
Enchantress looking to try and go in here on the Enigma. A big ultimate from the Faceless Void. He traps 3 mTw heroes, 2, pardon me, but here comes a Lich ult. Gonna help try and pick off 2 in the back. The Faceless Void will go down though, and the Shrek actually trying to run and doing a lot of damage will get picked off as well. 3-for-1 exchange, and mTw is just gonna look to keep up the pressure here in the middle.
Wow, this pressure is just unreal. And I mean, that's what you get a farm Tinker and Enigma. This is exactly what's going to happen to you. They don't have enough to deal with it. They have some really good initiation there by the Faceless. They did some nice AoE damage, but at the end it was only enough to take out one hero. Somehow Enigma surviving through it all, which is really impressive to me.
Yeah, amazing that he was able to. You know, that's the beauty of the mech, and he's also sitting on the cloak, so taking reduced damage from all the magic that Leshrac is pumping out to try and kill him. That's the unfortunate part about the Leshrac at this point in the game. I mean, he doesn't have enough health to really be able to run in there against 5 heroes and stand up to them. He just ran in and got obliterated.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see now. An ulti orb picked up. Who is that for? I'm going to have to think it's Tinker. Oh, no, that's going to be Invokers then, I would suppose, because Tinker already has one on him, actually, and already up to 900 more gold, so you know he's going for that Hex, the Sheep Stick, to try to keep that CC, as we were discussing at the beginning of the game, against that Faceless. It's going to be absolutely necessary, and he's just keep the pressure on these lanes. He teleports bottom, drops a March of Machines, goes top, does a March of Machines, just freely dropping it wherever he pleases.
He does as he pleases, often. It looks like they might try and set up a defense here at the bottom lane. Tinker actually picks up a kill, and Leshrac actually gets a kill somewhere else on the map. Looks like a top lane, but there's going to be a big engagement here at the bottom. A lot of damage going in on the Enchantress, and the Tinker, with all this farm, is able to buy back, and he's just going to look to TP back into the fight. He's going to come here to this top lane, drop the rockets, try and keep Lich back, and then, of course, March of Machines on top of the tower. They're going to keep this push going.
Yeah, and with the mech, like he just dropped, it's going to be super duper easy for them. Enigma going to probably look to do a... Is he going to get the Knight of the Boar? Okay. That would have been quite a great play coming out from the Beastmaster. Would have been pretty impressed, not going to lie. But no, he didn't get that. Another tower pushed. All the Tier 2s now dead for the Dire. They just got complete control of the map now at this point.
Here in the top lane, though, Tinker's going to have to be careful. We have a good time walk from the Faceless Void, but it looks like Sokka's going to be able to just force half and top away, or is he? He's trying to rearm. He's trying to get himself out, but the ultimate from the Faceless Void will be dropped to try and get him. Is it going to be enough? Is he going to be able to kill him before the Force Staff? No, he's going to be able to push himself down, and the Time Walk is not up, or is it? He gets Force Staffed again by the Windrunner who comes in, and unfortunately, all that team coordination is not enough. Faceless Void picks up a kill, and then is going to turn around to leave. You know, mTw's done a good job keeping all this pressure up, but now they have to keep it up because Faceless Void has finished the Battle Fury. He's going to be able to sit in this jungle and farm carefree unless mTw pressures him out of it.
Got a riddle.
Okay.
Let's say you're Enigma. What do you do with the Vitality Booster?
You sit on it to be tanky. I think that's probably... I really do think that's the thought behind it at this point. I mean, he's sitting on the Cloak. He's sitting on the VIP Booster, a really efficient item for health. I think he's really just trying to survive in these fights. You know, we've seen 1 or 2 fights already where he wants to try and get in and land a good black hole, but there's so much damage coming out from the enemy team that he just can't do it. And now that they have Faceless Void who's starting to get big, he has to be able to survive the Faceless Void ultimate and be able to get that black hole off.
Yeah, Faceless Void. Finish that Battle Fury. Has 1,400 more gold. The next item he's going to go, it's going to be pretty questionable to figure out. You know, who knows what's going to happen here. He could go so many different ways. I said I'd like to see a Blacking Bar on him against all this magic damage. It would make a lot of sense. But then again, if he gets a really good ulti off, there might be enough CC where he doesn't really absolutely need it, especially if the Time Walk too. Can escape kind of easily, you would think. So, you know, maybe he'll just go for another DPS item, maybe a Manta or something to really up his damage in those team fights and pushing ability.
I want to say, I just saw one of the beautiful things about getting to cast such a high-level game. Saw a little bit earlier in the bottom lane, Invoker looking to chase down Enchantress. Tinker starts to TP to one of the Forged Spirits. Enchantress enchants that creep that he's trying to TP to so that he can't come in. Really just beautiful play of understanding how this game works, and you know, not a big triple quad kill, but amazing play coming out by NS to make sure that he doesn't get picked off by that all-powerful Tinker.
Absolutely, that is true. And actually, Pipe now finished on the Beastmaster, so he's going to be well off for his team. Oh, is it finished? He has the recipe. All right, maybe it's not quite finished yet. But either way, he's getting close to it, and that's going to be really substantial. I keep saying about the Radiant team has so much magic damage on their team that I'm not sure that they have what it takes to get through that pipe so easily. So it's going to be really helpful for the Dire. And you see actually now, Hood Defiance finished on Enigma, so he's going to go straight for a pipe as well, it looks like now. So kind of the mech pipe. I'm not going to use the B word here as much as I want to, but he's going to be the he's going to be the team fight guru. How about that? That sounds pretty useful.
Sure. I like it. You know, this is actually, we're talking about some of the pub games we've been casting, man. I'm feeling this Enigma's play. I believe I built a pipe as well on my Enigma, just because you take so much damage from this enemy heroes, and like I was saying earlier, you gotta make sure you can land those black holes. That's a big part of mTw's team fight presence. He has to ensure that can get off, so, you know, I really like that play coming out of Enigma. The only problem is, if he does get locked down by that Faceless, and he's unable to pop the mech, he's unable to pop the pipe, he's the one with both of those items, so he becomes a really high priority target. If they take him out, that is a huge amount of mTw's team fight presence.
It's true. But the only way Enigma can truly get off a really great ultimate, he's going to have to capture Beastmaster in it. Because he'll get interrupted otherwise. So he has to be really cautious about that. He's not going Black King Bar, he's not going anything like that. He just wants to straight up have those team fight things and kind of depend on the rest of his team to allow him to set up this ultimates. Here comes the pressure now on the tier 3 tower. It's already lost a couple hundred health here. The rocket's coming out trying to do as much harassment as can from afar. They're trying to do this kind of through attrition, if you will. You know, not try to get engaged or get too close, because you know that's really dangerous when you have a Faceless Void ulti and Lich ulti drop right there. So they're just trying to kind of do as much as they can from as far away as they can. Really good Wild Axe, killing all those Eidolons off and doing a lot of damage to those Forge Spirits. Are they going to be able to keep this up, though? More damage coming out. Shackle Shot, beautiful Shackle Shot. Windrunner comes up with a Power Shot. It's only going to be a little bit of damage, though. They're not going to follow up, so I'm not sure where they're really... Are they going to keep trying to do increments of 50 damage every wave? I don't think it's going to be enough to make up for how much Faceless Void is farming and pushing here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's really hard to stop that push. double Forge Spirits, double March of Machines. I bet all of MTW, they're chewing some double mint gum. I mean, there's just two of everything there at that bottom lane, really looking to push in, but like you were saying, Faceless, he's just pushing this middle lane. He might actually get this tier 1 tower. They actually have Tinker, who's forced to come and deal with this middle lane, not be a part of that push, and as you can see, like you were saying, MTW, they just don't have enough without that Tinker, so they actually have to stop their push of the bottom lane. No heroes lost, and Faceless was able to chip away at that tier 1 tower and farm. Looking pretty good there for Virtus.
Absolutely. Oh, Cinderen's got to get out of there with his life. He doesn't have any way except for a Sheep's escape, so he's going to just keep running. Actually, there's the Force Staff now from Windrunner, going to keep him in safety, out of reach of those enemies. Could have been pretty dangerous coming out. Leshrac finishes the Bloodstone now himself, so hopefully going to try to get some charges on that to keep the mana rolling. And there you go. Straight buys a BKB on the Faceless Void. Am I on the ball tonight or what?
You're on something, man. That's for sure. I mean, he's going to be really hard to deal with. Now he has some tank ability, like you were saying, to deal with all that magic damage. He has the ability to farm now, so yeah, we really need MTW to make some permanent damage. They have to take a rack sometime in the next 5-10 minutes, or else it's going to get really difficult to deal with this Faceless Void. And you notice they've been bottom a lot. They've been south of the river a lot. They haven't been up in this dire jungle very much, so he has plenty of room to run around and try and get some farm. He's actually sending his illusions to go kill creeps in one camp while he's going to another. Really going to help him keep up a farm. But you can see the Radiant, they still have a 10,000 gold lead right now and a 2,000 experience lead. So while that Faceless is looking to farm up a lot, the Radiant team is able to put together a lot of these items that they want to fight him.
Absolutely. Windrunner now getting an ulti of herself, so it looks like she's going to plan to go for that sheepstick. The more the merrier, honestly. Although he did get that Black King bar, obviously they don't have too many ways aside from their magical CCs to keep him down. The black hole being the only one, and of course that can be interrupted very easily, as we've said time and time again. So they're going to look to just continue to have as many ways as they can to keep them out of there. I'm curious. They do have 2 Force Staffs. That's actually really huge against the Faceless Void. We don't see him a lot, so you don't think about it. But when he drops that ultimate, if those heroes are not,
they're actually looking to try and pick off the Beastmaster. A lot drops on there. Sorry to interrupt you. The Malefice. There's also a Shackle Shot looking to try and pick him off, but he is able to get away just fine. He's really tanky with the Tranquil Boots with that pipe. He's able to take a lot of magic damage. Enigma really wants to make something happen down here. He lands another Malefice on the Enchantress. She drops really low. They really want to try and do as much damage to this tower as they possibly can, but the creeps are getting killed very quickly. They're able to drop this tower down to about half health now. So good to see that they're able to do this, but like I was saying earlier, they need to get this tower down. They need to push some of these Raxes.
I was going to say, there's Faceless again, pushing the lane, getting tons of farm, up to 1,300 gold again after straight buying a BKB. Tinker's the only one that really can deal with this, and he's a really good candidate for it, since he can just keep going back there, helping it out, and then just going right back where the action is. And even if there's not a creep over there, they've got both the Eidolons and the Forge Spirits to always have a chance to summon him back to the fight. So, barring the fact that Enchantress hopefully doesn't, enchant one, which we've seen in the past, apparently. But, aside from that, yeah, he's always going to be able to keep up with his team. It's going to be really helpful. But getting back to my point, those Force Staffs, if they're not within the ultimate from the Faceless Void, they're going to actually be able to keep them out of there. Here comes the action, probably going to start opening up on this Tier 3 tower. The protection was used, the fortification, so they weren't able to continue it. 200 more damage done to this tower. Faceless just farming the jungle, not looking to be anywhere near the team. And you know what? That's actually a really smart decision, because obviously there's no engage going to come out anytime soon, so they might as well get the most farm of him as they can.
Yeah, I mean, Leshrac is a lot of counter push. We talked about it when these heroes are getting picked. Beastmaster as well. He's going to drop his ulti on the Enigma. Are they going to try and go in here? They do. An ultimate drop by the Lich. It's going to be a big ultimate. Going to take out both the Forge Spirits and the Enigma as well. A big ultimate drop by the Faceless Void as well. He's going to take out another hero. The Tinker and the Invoker going down. Are they going to be able to keep this up? Faceless looks to try and go with this Mask of Madness. Time walks onto the Windrunner. Actually starts to lock her in place. He's going to get a great shackle though, but the enchant by Enchantress is going to follow this up. Some big hits by the Impetus. A lightning will drop onto Windrunner, but Force Staff away. Using the Windrun and a TP away, she is going to be fine. 3 heroes drop for MTW, and still the Tier 3 tower stands.
I've told you, man, it's all about those initiations. And now they're going to look, I would think, to do Roshan. Although Tinker got out there, and he's going to keep the pressure on all the lanes, which is so helpful that he stayed alive throughout that fight. Because, you know, without his pressure, they could easily have taken Roshan there, no questions asked. So, you know, another great job on his part to stay alive, that sock. Their carry of the game. But yeah, I mean, just a beautiful initiation. The Beastmaster catching Enigma on the front lines where he really should not have been, and they could follow it up so easily with that Lich ult, with the Faceless Void coming down, the Shrek with the stun. I mean, they've got so many different ways to keep the pressure on them, and we saw it just work beautifully in their favor. As you said, 3-for-0 trade. I don't think anyone on the Dire even got close to hurt in that fight.
No, and you know, here's the other thing too. Leshrac is actually getting pretty big. We have the Dire wanted to initiate on that Invoker, but we actually Leshrac has the Bloodstone, has a BKB now, so he's also going to be able to stand up to a lot of this magic damage. Pop the BKB and just run around and watch people die. They're getting a lot of their damage put together here on this Dire side of the map, and you know, mTw, what are they going to be able to do when it gets late? We can see that actually the gold graph is starting to dip. It's down about 7,000. That fight definitely helped the Dire there, but we can see mTw looking again to try and line up on this bottom lane. They're just going to be persistent, look to keep taking chunks out of it. They actually are trying to go in on this Beastmaster. Cold Snap keeping him locked in place, but he's so tanky, they're not going to be able to take him down.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he still had the hood up, so there wasn't anything they were going to really do about it. You saw the enchant actually go onto the Forge Spirit, so he just likes controlling those. They do a lot of damage. I mean, I don't blame him for taking over, honestly. But, you know, a good job there. Sheepstick finished up on Tinker. That's going to hopefully help them out in this next fight. They pop a preemptive pipe, going to look to just take this out. There's an ultimate on Enigma again. This looks like deja vu, except Force Staff comes out. Really good ultimate. Dropped, except they're chasing now on the black hole target. The ultimate was already down, so it's going to definitely land on these two. Leshrac stuns it, but is it going to do enough? Enigma falls. Here comes the next fall. Earthshaker down, and now the Lich bounces back and forth, bounces and forth. It's going to kill two heroes by itself. Tinker on the run. Leshrac looking to land a beautiful stun here. Gonna miss, but still Tinker's going to fall for this. Or is he? The Force Staff comes out, but the Quillbore with a great snipe going to help Leshrac finish off that kill. And that's a 5-0 with Roshan in their sights.
Went ahead, get further ahead. They're going to try and take out this Roshan here, get that Aegis. I imagine on the Leshrac, which is going to be huge for him, sitting on 14 Bloodstone charges. That's amazing. He's going to be able to keep this up, and even if it gets picked off 2 times now, he's going to die once, come back instantly, and then he's going to die again and come up quickly because he has so many charges now.
Oh, this is unreal. I do love that Mask of Madness too on Faceless Void. They're trying to do as much damage in a small window as possible. That's exactly what he's doing now. He's got the Aegis picked up, so now he's going to have fear of pretty much nothing at this point. He's got another 1,000 gold sitting on. Leshrac in the meantime with 3,000 gold, and like you said, there's 14 charges. And even if he dies in these team fights, he's going to res almost instantly just because of those charges as well. Bloodstone's got so many great uses to it. Enigma, on the other hand, it's really unfortunate he doesn't have a great way to initiate. Actually, probably going to get initiated now. Beastmaster uses the all-faceless point, going to follow that up. Black King bars. There is no hope for this poor Enigma. Uses the Mectre to save alive as long as he can, but that's going to make him fall. Tinker up in 5 seconds. Another. They just keep catching this Enigma over and over again.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. You know, he's the one that they have to be able to try and keep alive so that he can get these big ults down. His ultimate was down anyhow, so that wasn't necessarily the reason they wanted to take him out, but you know, they do nonetheless, and just picking up another hero kill. We can see now the gold graph has almost hit 0. These big team fights going the way of Virtus, completely leveling the playing field, and actually the experience graph now dipping down to 15,000 in the Dire's favor, just getting the levels that are going to give them the all-powerful moves. And here's a big ult coming from the Faceless Void. They're going to look to try and take down Synderen. The Faceless Void does get cheap, but here comes an ultimate from the Lich, going to ensure that the Invoker goes down. Enigma's still down as well. It looks like they're going to have the res on the Faceless Void, who was able to pick up the Aegis off of Roshan. Kabapul looks to go down, getting jumped on by the Faceless Void. Beastmaster will pick up that kill, and they're going to be able to take out this Tier 2 tower.
So they use the Aegis, but the 2 more die in that fight. And I mean, they just don't have what it takes to finish these guys off once and for all. It's so hard to kill that Beastmaster. It's so hard to kill that Faceless because of backtrack too. I mean, they just have a lot to deal with now. Some really good shackle shots in this game, but they just...
In the middle, looks like they're going to try and go in. They sheep the Beastmaster, trying to do as much damage as they can to him, but he's just going to drop his ultimate onto the Enigma, and here comes Faceless yet again, looking to try and take down the Enigma. Deja Vu, he might go down. No, he will not. The Faceless will not be able to kill him, but a beautiful shackle shot comes out from the Windrunner. Are they going to be able to take down the Faceless? They do. A ton of damage being done to Faceless Void. They have 75 seconds of him being dead. He can buy back, but he obviously would like to save that gold. The Shrek pushing in the bottom lane. Two heroes from mTw come down to deal with this. They have to try and take advantage of this window where they have a big part of the Virtus Pro lineup out of the count.
Yeah, but all their creeps waves are so pushed in their favor that against them that they just don't have enough time to do really anything with this. So they're just going to look to push these out. All those tier 2 towers have been dead since probably around the 20-something mark. So really all they could do is just kind of farm their jungle and these creeps and hope that that's going to help them out enough. But this Faceless is just so far into this game now. Shrek fishing, Agumon Scepter. So just another thing to add to the table. It's just going to do so much damage. And the Faceless Void, I mean, I just don't know what they're going to have against this team now. You know, they really need a initiation that's going to define how the fight goes. Because if they don't get that start, they're not going to be able to kill all these heroes that they need to.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you know, the Enigma doesn't have that Blink Dagger, so you can't really jump in on them and surprise them. And now I'm looking at the Earthshaker. He does. He will be able to blink in, Fissure, Echo Slam, try and keep them stunned for hopefully a long time. But, you know, we've seen a lot of these fights, actually. You have Beastmaster who's sitting up at the front. He's really trying to be the tank for the team. He gets an initial initiation, and as soon as he knows it's safe, the Faceless Void jumps in on top to deal all the damage. Really well thought out team fights here by Virtus Pro, and they're really setting this up well so that they don't lose him to the mTw lineup.
Yeah, the other great thing here is Lich bought up that Vladimir's offering. So giving that lifesteal to face, or extra lifesteal, excuse me. Oh wait, that's not going to work. Interesting. So is it just for the damage aura then, I wonder?
I don't know, man. I'll take it. I'm sure Faceless Void will too. I mean, he's sitting here doing about 200 damage in attack. Absolutely insane. Sitting on almost 3,000 gold. It looks like their mTw is going to be able to take out the tower that they've been working so hard to take out. And now Beastmaster is going to try and stop it. The Wild Axe is so amazing at the counter push. You can see mTw repeatedly popping the pipe, but Beastmaster's still able to do a huge amount of damage to the creeps because part of the Wild Axe's damage is physical. And here you see again, Leshrac comes in, they clear out the creeps. So good that mTw were able to take out a tower, but they still haven't made a really permanent mark in the dire side of the map. No Rax is down yet. They try and go in on this Beastmaster. Cold Snap dropped. Rockets come out, getting the Enchantress really low as well. But looks like they're just going to have their Faceless Void try and go here to the top lane and push in while the other four heroes are left to defend these two Raxes, the all-important Raxes. The push comes in. We'll have to see which side looks to engage first. Tinker gets really close to the front of the lines. A really kind of short cast range on the March of the Machines, despite the huge area it has. A beautiful Shackle Shot coming out from the Windrunner. She's looking to try and do some damage with that Power Shot, but still, they're not doing anything, and they're not able to get into this base. And as you can see, bottom lane, or top lane, pardon me, Faceless Void is just able to push this tower. He's going to be able to take it out. Tinker has already come to the top lane. They're going to try and get something in here. It looks like Faceless Void will drop the ultimate and will only get it on the Tinker. Going to be able to take him out very quickly. And he pops a BKB. Will they look to try and continue this fight? They're not going to, but they will actually. Oh no, they will. They look to try and go on Kebab. Here on the left, the Earthshaker. He's trying to run for his life. He is going to be able to blink away. The Time Walk, though, might be able to keep them up, but no, it looks like Virtus want to change their mind. They're now going to try and look to go for the Windrunner and the Invoker. It looks like everybody's going to get out, but the tier 2 tower in the top lane does drop, and yet again, nothing being done to this bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta give them credit. They're trying their best to do what they need to do in this game, but now they're just losing every single team fight. They're getting initiated on, simply put, and you know it's not paying off in their favor. Leshrac sitting on 4,000 gold. He just bought Nagamon Scepter. I'm almost certain that just happened like 20 seconds ago. I mean, maybe I'm lying there. But the point, I mean, it's just ridiculous how much gold they're getting. And he kills every creep wave with a sleight of hand. You know, doesn't even spend hardly any mana at all because it regens so very quickly. You know, meanwhile, Invoker's been sitting on a Scythe of Eyes pretty much all game. He hasn't gotten that next item, which would be Agumon's, I would have to imagine. He's got the point booster, but they just can't finish all their items. Okay, I lied a little bit. There's a site device on Windrunner. Okay, they finally finished one item on their team, but he keeps popping those BKBs at critical times, and they're still not able to do enough. And that's the problem with this all-magic team. Where's their physical component to stand with Faceless? They don't have one.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing, though, is because, like you said, Faceless Void's been popping that BKB regularly to try and get in on these team fights. It's down to its 5-second duration now, so he does have that time to just go insane and rip the enemy team apart, but now it's down to 5 seconds. So if they can chain these Sheep Sticks together, they're going to be able to bring him down. I mean, Tinker essentially has 2, at least, because he can rearm it. Now they have this other one on Windrunner, so if they line it up right, Tinker's going to be able to get his sheep. He's going to be able to rearm while Windrunner's sheeping. And actually, speaking of sheeps, we see here, there's going to be engagement here at the bottom. They're going to try and go in, but no, Funzy just gets destroyed by the Lishrak. A big ultimate being dropped by the Shaker, as well as the Enigma here in the bottom, but the Lich ultimate bouncing around, doing a ton of damage. Here comes a Faceless Void. He's just going to rip Sock apart, and now look to turn this around on the Enigma and take him down as well. 4 dead for nothing. The Faceless Void picking up a double kill, the Lishrak as well.
That fight just went completely, absolutely wrong in every way possible for mTw. You know, they might have had the right idea, but they didn't know what they were going in there kind of blind. They have 2 wards up there, so they kind of knew they were in the area, but they didn't know exactly what they were doing or where they were positioned. And on that high ground, the Dire had such a huge advantage. They had all the sight, you know, everything. Windrunner just jumped with a Force Staff, so with no escape possibility after that, and just got decimated by the Leshrac, and it was over from there.
Yeah, it looks like Virtus are going to look to try and push it on this middle lane. They have a siege creep, but not much else with them. Just the damage from Faceless is going to be a ton. He actually looks to try and go in here. He wants to try and go in on the Earthshaker. The Earthshaker just blinks away, but there's nowhere near the counter push available for mTw now that their team half dead still. They're just going to have to sacrifice these Raxes, and that's another huge jump in the gold graph. We can already see that Virtus Pro sitting on an 8,000 lead. You can see that how sharply that graph's changing. Still going to keep going down. We see actually Deafening Blast being dropped. The ultimate from the Beastmaster looking to try and kill Funzy. Look how fast he goes down to that Leshrac and the Faceless Void. The sheep didn't do anything there. They're just going to roll up to this top. The tower already dead. They're going to look to take down this Rax. Will they get it, though? Big damage coming out from the Tinker. They're not able to take down Scandal, though. He's going to survive, and here comes the Lich ultimate bouncing around between the mTw lineup, and Faceless Void gets a double kill in the meantime. Up here, just above where the Raxes were, we see Shaker trying to get a last hit on that Scandal, but they're not able to. The GG's coming out. GG, go next. Syndrome wants to get in the next game and get his revenge.
Really well played here by the Dire. They were down. I was going to say, is that Mount Everest? That gold graph, because oh my goodness, what a no! That's more like what happened in the economic recession recently.
There you go.
But regardless, just horrible, just things coming out from mTw. Faceless continue to get these free farms, push the lanes, you know, end up getting the items he needed to be in those team fights with some really great initiations with those ultimates. I mean, they just didn't have an answer to those team fights. Enigma was kind of their only hope at that, but he wasn't able to get that on enough heroes to really change the course of the fight.
Absolutely. Virtus Pro start this matchup 1-0 over mTw. Is mTw going to be able to come back in game number 2? You're going to have to just join us for the next game to find out. Dire victory here. Here's your stat screen. We will see you in the next game.